seeker waits for the knowledge. Knowledge ducks the non-seeker. I remember long back in 1985 or 86, Guruji was waiting for people to arrive so that he could start his teaching. So there were many genuine seekers and there were non-seekers. So Master made a statement, Guruji, that is how we have started using. So he said that the seeker waits for the teacher or the knowledge. And teacher waits for the seekers to receive the knowledge. And there is a huge difference. Non-seeker is busy in emotional dependence, mental immaturity, intellectual paralysis, fantasy, busy with the strong likes and dislikes, joy and the sorrow, hatred and the love. That develops your ego. And the ego is caused by the ignorance. So knowledge ducks the non-seeker. And the seeker follows the path. This has such a deep impact on my life that I started reaching 10 or 15 minutes before any event, whether it's any celebration or marriage or teaching someone, even going to my office when I was working with the federal government in India. People started making a joke, but now I see over almost 35 years, it has paid me. It has paid me tremendously. That sense of anxiety is never there interacting with the people and the world. So these teachers, they make a statement from the teachings of these principles in variety of ways. So it happened that I always used to reach half an hour before the teacher arrives. I was just waiting. My son was hardly 4 years old. Yes, I took my daughter, she was only 3 months. And even my family, people started making a joke of me. But I said, no, I will be reaching there. So I was waiting, relaxed. And that helped me because the mind is empty, mind is waiting for the knowledge, waiting for the interaction. And I told him that. So maybe after 15, 20 years, he made a statement that you look at this guy, he waits for me and I wait for you. That's a tremendous difference. It has nothing to do with the time. That am I prepared to receive the knowledge? Am I fully prepared? There is a huge difference between the two. I am totally relaxed and calm, and now I will receive the knowledge. I will try to implement this knowledge in my life. So these principle works if we apply in our life. So in our sessions, we will be using two characters. Come back to the topic, Mike and Michelle. I will not name anyone who sends the email to me. So it is better. Sometimes people like to hide it, so it's okay. But it will benefit others. and you see that how this mind transforms, and you don't say that you are a mind reader, but your mind goes very deep into every question, and you see that how the person is feeling. We don't have a business of mind reading. It is left to, what we say in US, psyche, something, they use the word, psyche. We don't have that business. We don't do that business. So let us take a mic. You can even do not recognize whether it's gender. So the message I received, the message I gained for me is to practice, practice, and practice. And to notice the ego thinking and judging that I should be farther along in my journey. Answer is right. Mike is right. Because I am realizing and trying to accept that it will take time. Answer is yes. It has to take time. So what you do in that period? I should repeat the practice. I should continue to listen, and I should continue to contemplate and reflect in order to bring about a change. But my ego is impatient. Forget about anyone. Everyone's ego is impatient. When you are in a mode of ego, it is impatient. I wonder if intellectual paralysis like an addiction. Answer is big yes. Because of the intellectual paralysis or because of the ego, there is an intellectual paralysis. Ego perceives in a limited manner. And then the mic writes, I wonder if intellectual paralysis is like an addiction. I can see it. This is really wonderful. It is a recognition that this is causing the problem. This is the way to becoming a seeker. I can see it, I know it, I am aware. Beautiful. Yet it still grabs hold of the mind, and I can watch myself move into the suffering in the mind repeatedly. So now you see that I am recognizing this ego is causing the problem. Ego is caused by the ignorance. Ignorance is caused by the likes and dislikes, then the joy and the sorrow. It creates an imagination in my life. So these principles give me a pathway to return to my true nature and out of the suffering. Answer is big yes. I used to fear death when I began on the spiritual journey. I lost the fear. Very good. But I do have many attachments in the mind. So attachment and fear are siblings. So the fear has changed its shade. Oh no, fear has changed its shade, and it has taken the form of an attachment. I'm just, and then I'll give you a brief of it. It makes me think that I have many fears and dualities. You are right. Mike, you have to read your email again and again and contemplate and reflect. Perhaps they are the reflection of these attachments. Big yes. Then the Mike writes at the beginning of the email you read, you said there is no Guruji. Yes. Guru means knowledge. You say that I am your Guruji, but when I see myself, every teacher in the Eastern wisdom, they see that they are the representative of your real self outside. Your essential nature is real self. So if I am teaching, I become a representative of that real self for you, for your real self. So we have to set an example that you have to be humble. So I say, yes, there is no Guruji. If I have thoughts that lead to guilt, shame for moments, I get caught up in the thought, duality and anger. How do I handle it? All they are the siblings, all they are the kids of the ego. So when you handle the ego, step by step, it can easily be handled. Until you crush your ego by thought, speech and action, and keep cracking your behavior, attitude, spiritual journey will not happen. Answer is big yes. What is going to happen? The ego maintains its presence in a variety of ways. And that is what you have expressed to me. So crushing that ego means that my behavior and attitude in my daily life changes. So when I read this message and I was watching, you see how you perceive the world, your perception changes. And you extract the wisdom from each and every event in your life. Whether you are receiving pain, it becomes an opportunity for you. Whether you are living in relationship, it becomes an opportunity for you. For ego, it becomes a big problem for you. We start fighting. We start getting frustrated. And attachment, likes and dislikes, all they enter into our life. Normally people say meditation, or just you sit in meditation and you will succeed in meditation. Answer is no, because the inner side, the mind is filled with the ego, its attitude, behavior, anxiety, duality, conflict. So it will not allow you to succeed in meditation. No, but I always succeed in meditation when you give the practice. Answer is yes. So that ego and its siblings are waiting to enter into you after the meditation. And that is why we need to purify the mind. That is why we need to crush the mind. Daily, consciously, 24/7. Otherwise, in variety of ways, our attitude and behavior will present ourselves. Oh, this is the ego is taking our side. So what happened? I told you that I was watching. No, your perception changes. You see something, but your perception goes very deeper. So when you have that right perception at all the time, the ego dares to come in. But ego is already there, siblings are already there, attachment and detachment is already there. So we need to continue the journey to purify this mind. Purification is one way to minimize the presence of the ego. Or the ego always takes the right side. Ego has to be there. But it becomes a ripened ego. And that goes a long way in our evolution, in our awakening. I told you I was sitting watching a channel when I received this message. Do you see that how your mind perceives? So on that channel, they were showing that how the car is scrapped in UK, and I watched the entire process. First, this lady drove the car to the scrapping center. What it means? Lady said, now this car I'm not going to use. So if you have a recognition, I'm simultaneously comparing that. Just pay attention how your perception changes. So the lady said, I have to scrap the car. So I should have a sense of helplessness and also the humility in the mind that now I'm going to part with this ego which causes the likes and dislikes. I should have a recognition at all the time. Sometimes we come out and we say something nasty. It is always good to take it back. I should be able to recognize it. Don't think that you are saying to the boss or you are saying to your kids. I should recognize it. So what happened? A big crane lifted the car. I'm just simultaneously comparing. Big crane lifted the car at 10 meters above, put into the machine where the steel was separated from the rubbers and other materials. There the intellect need to be applied. I have to separate. This ego is causing me the trouble, and this ripe ego is not causing me the trouble. I'm guiding you, I'm teaching you, I'm presenting myself, that's all. It's not causing any problem. But at the same time, the ego says, I am presenting. You all are much lower than me. I am a teacher. You see, it's a very thin difference. I have to separate the two. It takes a lot of details. It demands a lot of attention. It demands that a motivation that I want to change myself. So the lady explained, she was presenting, the car is broken into the pieces and the machine separated the rubber material from the steel. I can tell you any situation in your life can turn into a moment of meditation. So we recognize how ignorance, ego created so much of stress and suffering, and I want to get rid of it. I must think in this way. We need to separate. You see, we need to separate the steel. So what it means? I have to separate the useful material in terms of my thought, speech and action from the non-useful material. How to do that? How to do that? Two principles, discernment and dispassion. The car goes into another machine and crushed it into the small pieces. Crushed into the small pieces. We recognize that still remains of the ego are present. We think, speak and act. Constant contemplation and reflection is required. Mind is refined now. It shines with the wisdom, can instantly recognize the subtle layers of your ego. Then third time the lady is explaining that steel goes into another machine and crushed into a tiny pieces. So if we continue the journey, constant journey, practice, plus listening and learning and applying these principles in your life. Now the tiny pieces means everything is filtered except the steel. So she was explaining that how the steel recycled and used as making a balls of the steel. They mix it with the other step. They heat it up to 2000 degrees and they made it into a liquid. Are you looking at it? Our previous sessions has explained the same process. Likes and dislikes, joy and the sorrow. So now it is made into a liquid. That liquid represents the emptiness and blankness, but you maintain your awareness. You see with clarity that how a small thought causes this ego to take over me, and it starts the journey of the likes and dislikes. You have such a clarity that this is required and this is not required. Where it happens in the mind. What is this? It is just a cognitive ability. At that moment, you can read the mind of others. It passes on. You need not to be a mind reader. And then what happens? Lady was saying that they have already created a mold in which this liquid steel passes and it creates a structure of a bowl. Bowl is then polished, checked and ready to go for the sale. What it means? Oh, I have reached to that state. How to know it? Just start living in the world. See how it works. Are you getting it? So you are polishing the ball. You are polishing that ego. That is totally a ripened ego. We keep working in the world. You will say that you go to the Himalayas and you are awakened. You don't know. You are not polished. You do not understand. Your attitude and behavior changes. Your honey says what happened to you now. You are not reacting. You are not going into the joy and sorrow. You did not react for the last 1 year. That is the testimony. last point, that is the reason we say. So what happens in the entire process? Every teacher or every text we have, I told you 3,000 texts. Two factors are very important: the grace of a teacher and grace of the existence. What is the grace? That you are understanding, you recognize, you have a cognitive ability. So every time you send the mail or you discuss with me, I see that, okay, I have given this reference, you have not understood, so let me give you another reference. So our constant endeavor to explain the same principle in variety of ways so that it hits your mind and you change. That is the only goal. Now see the grace of the existence a bit. Not many people join this program. Many people have left. Many people have reaction. Oh, do you think that I'm a seeker? Many people remember in this entire journey. No. No. I have to look back. So some people, I would say your past impression, that seed of the spirituality is there. Now it wants to manifest. It wants to come in front. You find a teacher. You find the right path. So I told you the first point, that now I want to get rid of it. How to get rid of it? You found a place, lady found a place. Take the car to a scrapping center. Let it be scrapped. The car that I loved so much for years. I have taken care of it. I fed my ego. I worked with that ego with different shades and the colors. Now I said I want to get rid of it. So that is the first beginning point, that I am a seeker. I want to get rid of it anyhow. So there is an element of the grace of the existence. And then your Guruji represents the real self. Can you see that moment? If you see that, your perception, you see that the entire scrapping converted into a steel bowls, it was a company in France. And their products are sold all over the world. So now what is happening in my mind? It was such a casual affair. And how I related to this. That is how your perception becomes so focused that you see that presence of that consciousness in every activities, in every relation of your life. I believe you are getting it. That changes. Now you are talking to your son with that perception. So being a father does not overpower you, or does not overpower the right perception. So what happens? You may be a father, but you talk out of respect, out of love and care. So what happens? The reward is that you also get the same thing. So what happens? That right perception changes it drops the intellectual paralysis and a fantasy completely. Then what happens? What is the real self? It will come in front. What comes in front? That is what is awakening. Now you recognize there is some presence inside that is taking. So the knowledge of the real self is realized. Do you remember? In stages. We have to have a patience, we have to have a discernment, we have to have a dispassion. I told you in a couple of the sessions, listening and learning with a live teacher or in person to person is a preparation for that journey. And repeat listening and learning, doing the practice with yourself is a journey towards perfection. So what exactly is this right perception? If you say right, what is right perception? It is knowledge. What is knowledge? It is consciousness. What is consciousness? There is a pure consciousness. What is that pure consciousness? It is the real self. And I have repeated couple of times, it demands an effort like a crow, focus like a crane, filter your thoughts pertaining to ego by discernment and dispassion, followed by some simple rules. I have to check my dietary routine. I have also to check if the body has certain issues. Can I minimize those issues during the journey? The intellectual paralysis goes away. That is the way the journey of this entire Eastern wisdom has to be taken. We are going slowly. So I told you in the very beginning we have two characters. I'll be using Mike and Michelle. I'm not going to reveal the names of those people who send, sometimes they send me crazy messages also. So even they will be known as Mike and Michelle, because we also become sometimes crazy. So it's not a big deal. It's the same thing. Understand it. I got another message that I should throw some light on who is the seeker and who is the non-seeker in terms of who is a student. So there are many words used. The student, then we use the disciple, we also use the word seeker. So I will just talk in detail in our next lesson before we but I will relate it to the continuous journey of our life. So pay attention. Simple. Your perception is colored by that ego, or your perception is colored by the right perception. No, what it means. I always see everything is right. My anger is right. My duality is right. My conflict is right. No, but how to understand this? Sugar. You buy sugar in any country, on any part of this planet Earth, it remains sweet. Do you go to India or China or any other country, the sugar tastes to you bitter? That is the right perception. Make it sure. That is the right perception. Lemon anywhere, it tastes the same. Do you see? I have to separate right perception. Now this guy is crazy, but the other says that guy is good. So I have a problem with my mind. I have to change my perception. Anywhere and everywhere, that knowledge remains the same. That is another way to understand what is awakening. In spite of anything, any changes in my life, my friends, there is something in me that does not change. And that the perception of that presence does not change in anyone in the world. Does that make a sense? I believe you understand. Close your eyes. Eyes are closed and body is comfortable. Now see, I'm bypassing the two steps. I have told you a couple of times. We have being comfortable and being carefree. I'm getting rid of, no, I won't say getting rid of. It has helped us to understand the entire process. But check, when you are comfortable, there is no struggle. There is no stress being comfortable. So what is going to happen? You just understand that, oh, this is what is happening. So we save time on spending time and being comfortable and carefree. Then I will add couple of more steps. So just check, you are simply aware, you are listening to me, you are comfortable, and then no struggle with the body, breath, mind in the position of the body. And we directly move into the mantra Sarvesham Shantir Bhavatu. Sarvesham Shantir Bhavatu. Now I give another perspective of this. To reach to the knowledge that never changes. What it means? May there be happiness for all. When? All the time. Where? In all the locations. In what relations? In all the relations. Now this message must be saturated in the mind to get rid of that intellectual paralysis that causes the ego. So you come out of the meditation and now you see the same person with whom you had some tussle, but now your perception has changed. May there be happiness for all. So what happens to ego? You give a big blow to that ego. Sometimes the chances are that the ego takes over you, you suffer. Ego doesn't take over you, you get a new level of awareness. That is how the knowledge is realized in stages. It does not happen instantly. Sarvesham Shantir Bhavatu. Sarvesham Shantir Bhavatu. Sarvesham Shantir Bhavatu. May there be peace for all. Same thing, you see that? I must make a vow to myself that come what may, whatever the situation, relations in my life, I am on the side of the peace. You praise me, appreciate me, or insult me. You like or don't like. But I have taken a side of the peace. Now see the application. It first takes place in the mind or intellect. But if it doesn't take place in the intellect, you know it is paralysis. You know it is because of the likes and dislikes. So how come you are a seeker? You know I have to scrap it. Sarvesham Purnam Bhavatu. Sarvesham Purnam Bhavatu. Sarvesham Purnam Bhavatu. Now I give another perspective. You see that these mantras are the, what we say, backbone of all the teachings. Purnam Bhavatu. Does my mind is pure? Yes. It is reflecting deeper within? Yes. It recognizes that I am complete in myself? Yes. You will have no problem with the world outside. You need not to pose. You need not to create a rift. Finished. What happens then? Awakening. Sarvesham Mangalam Bhavatu. Sarvesham Mangalam Bhavatu. Sarvesham Mangalam Bhavatu. So you can understand this phrase of the mantra in two ways. You begin the journey, so you are searching that auspiciousness in every situation, people, relationship in your life. No, I already have an extreme pain, and then what do you mean? What is the auspiciousness in it? So you are extra careful not to have a pain, to avoid that pain, to go deeper what caused the pain. Maybe because of your lifestyle, you modify it. Do you see an opportunity in the pain? That is the way we should live our life, my friends. Now we will continue to purify the mind with the breathing, but this is not only the breathing. You look deep inside the forehead in the space awareness of the space. Very good. And now pick a point in the space. Very good. And now Om Shanti, you drop Om Shanti into that space. So now you see that everything moves smoothly. If it is not moving smoothly, that needs that I have to repeat the practice. And now start breathing from the rib cage. Short and gentle breathing from the ribs. What obstructs that breathing in the middle? Ego. Whether you say ego, whether you say a thought, keep on, continue. Continue quick and short breath into the rib cage. You are aware of the expansion and contraction of the rib cage. You are constantly aware of the Om Shanti with a pause, and that pause I had explained to you in the last session. That pause is natural, with reference to the whiteboard and writing on the continue. So when you are aware, in that awareness helps you to change the mindset, not only the breathing. Continue. Continue. Quick, short, and the gentle breath. Om Shanti. You are aware of the sensation, comfort, and steadiness. And now is the time to stop it. Stop the breathing, stop the mantra, do nothing. Recognize and accept the changes. Changes means your experiences. You can also retrieve those experiences where the mind poses the obstacle. It says, no, it is enough, it is more, it is less. So you have to look, they are the impressions that is already present in our mind for years together. Their trigger takes the form of a shape and becomes the ego. Look inside the forehead again in the space. And Om Shanti continues. Start with a little longer breath from the belly. You expand the belly while inhaling, and you contract the belly while exhaling. It's a little longer breath, so we give a variation of the breath and we check how the mind responds to that variation. So at a very subtle level, this means that how the mind responds to a different situation, people, relationship in the world outside. We are training, we are educating the mind. The breath has a very little role. According to the science, the breath has too much of role. People say, I feel fresh and more energetic. I know, my friends, you do nothing. You change your mind. You will feel more energetic than any breathing practice. But we are in the stage of a seeker, and that is why we are understanding and doing the practice. Continue. Om Shanti, gentle way of doing it. Breathing continues. Long in the hissing breath. Yeah, along with the little noises there into the belly, but that long breath means that you are only inhaling and exhaling into the belly. Expansion and the contractions are felt. They give a clue that we have put the standard expansion of the belly, and the thought returns and we forget it. So it gives you a standard. Oh, this is the way I am analyzing while doing this step. And stop it, stop everything, just here in the field of awareness, recognizing, accepting the changes, and also reflecting on what happened. Was there any obstacle? Was any reaction coming from the mind and still I did it? You're succeeding. Teacher in the Eastern wisdom, if they talk about our weaknesses just to help us to overcome. Now is the time for the third breathing. First, looking into the space inside the forehead. Pick a point in the space. You see, it is an abstract. But that moment, picking a point in the space is not abstract because we are educating the mind how to intensively focus. What we understand by the focus is different. That belongs to modern psychology. It doesn't belong to Eastern wisdom. And now you start breathing long, deep in the hissing, both from the belly and the rib cage. You take your time. You are consciously inhaling into the belly. It expands into the rib cage. It is one breath. And exhaling from the belly and the rib cage. The outer, it is an objective state of the breathing, but you are more looking into the subjective side of it. And it takes time, it comes. Sometime you will notice that your mind, because of the past impression, only breathes to the rib cage. You recognize the fault and then you restart. So don't worry, don't get upset. It's a way. That is the way the mind is educated. It takes time. Continue. And now stop this. Do nothing, experience the changes, but remember, you are not the experience. But we get some ideas, some clues, some changes tells me that the mind is changing. But why the mind is changing? To see, to find, to awaken. And now look deep inside the forehead. Look deep inside the heart and triangle. Equilateral triangle, you remember. Background may be of any color, triangle may be of any color. Why I'm triggering your mind? You will find out what color you like sometime. Instantly they appear. So don't take it that it's a good thing. But we use it. We use even our like to progress. Do you see the subtle point here? And then move the mind on the side of a triangle, dropping Om Shanti. So awareness is one. I'm making a wrong statement for the right reason. So one awareness is sensation, comfort, and steadiness. Second awareness is the background. Third awareness is the triangle. Fourth awareness is mind is moving on the side. Sixth awareness is saying Om Shanti. Seventh awareness, it is aware of the sink. This is known as a concentration in Eastern psychology, Eastern wisdom. It is totally different from the modern. You see, you are full of joy and you are moving the mind on a triangle with Om Shanti. But in modern psychology, that concentration is an effort. Continue. Om Shanti continues. And now leave that japa Om Shanti on all the 16 segments of a finger. The entire purpose of this is that all the sense organs, faculty of the senses, are present in the mind. What it means? You leave the world outside. What it means, there is no place for the ego to take over you, especially in this moment. You have to see the quality of dropping Om Shanti on the 16 segments. And I believe you understand meaning of the quality. So that quality means that you have heightened the level of your awareness. Neither touching nor saying loudly. So the faculty of the senses are aware that you are saying it mentally. You hear the noise, sound inside. You are not touching physically. So you are entering into a subtle plane of the consciousness. Shanti, Shanti, Shanti. Shanti, Shanti, Shanti. Shanti, Shanti, Shanti. Bring your mind on the right hand, your mind on the left hand. Lift your both the palms, place it on your eyes. Open the eyes inside the palms, know your experiences. Bring the hands down, we'll share our experiences if you have any question. Today's session also goes into the public domain. Nothing belongs to me. How are you, Stephen?
Good. Thank you for that. I especially like the reminder about perception and reality, and I always look at every situation as an opportunity. So it was good to hear that as well. The practice was relatively smooth. Very beginning, I closed my eyes and instantly saw a lotus flower moving towards me.
Good.
And then it became an eyeball, and then it became nothing. And it was just pure blankness until the triangle, and you heard you say something about whatever color, and it instantly turned this golden yellow
Good.
and then disappeared. And it was just really smooth from start to finish with just those narratives. So thank you.
Beautiful. Beautiful. That perception of the reality is the most important point. Wherever you go, you are into that reality. So you know what happens to the mind. The way I explained you, I was watching that entire, and then I saw, oh, this is what happens. This is how it works. So you extract that reality perception from every event. That quality must be attained before what we say the awakening should take place. How are you, David and Jerry?
Thank you, sir. Very good. Again, I thoroughly enjoy the story in the beginning of the car, and that transformation of the car. That's going to be reflected on in the coming days. So thank you. The meditation was very deep, very subtle. The only observation I had is my triangle was so deep in my heart, it was very small.
Very small.
And because it was so deep in a within me kind of thing. So, but very, very peaceful. Thank you.
Beautiful. Again, if you go back to this entire story of scrapping and convert it into the, so you see that all the processes has to be taken. Unless then only we are able to bring about a change. And today we did 4 minutes each. And you told me that it is so smooth. That's wonderful. How are you, Jerry?
Sir, I'm good. Thank you, sir. The meditation was really smooth and rhythmic and just deep, very, very deep. And I also see all things in my life as a gift. And with your analogy of the steel and just melting down, I feel like that's what we do with all these gifts that present to us. We can filter down to our pure self.
Beautiful, beautiful narration. The gift of the existence to us. We are a human being. We can recognize. We can have a perception. Animals will continue to have the same perception. That is, Terry is pointing me. How are you, Terry?
I am wait, I'll say it's hard to this passion and even middle path. Everything, even and smooth.
Smooth, yes. You see that people have many objections about this problem, but only I am the real self. Once the mind is there, we can have that. How are you, Webho?
Thank you, sir. So I'm good. Mine was smooth. One thing I just noticed that like unless I recognize my impurity as impurity, like unless my mind does not recognize that, I will not try to resolve it, and it will keep continuing with me.
Yeah.
So it's like see, with this thing, I can understand that this is the problem that I'm having, and then I can work on to resolve it. So that is the point I'm just trying to get it.
Yes, yes, you picked up the very first step. Unless I recognize that this car, I don't need it, which I loved so much before, which I liked so much. First time buying, first time I got this car and I liked it. A small dent said, oh, my heart. And now the same car. So that recognition is the beginning of being a seeker. So we don't recognize and we do the middle of the practices. The ego continues to maintain its identity. Then we are not changing. That is what we are doing. How are you, Christina?
Good morning, thank you. I also like the story of the car, and it to me was like this filtering of the mind and the thoughts, and helped me to recognize during the second breathing there was a change that happened, but the discomfort I felt came from the mind, not the change. Yeah.
Beautiful. Beautiful. You see that when I used this story, I was saying that how much effort we need to do. There were three different machines. One machine was filtering the rubber and the steel. Second was making into a small pieces so that all the dust and other paint is also removed. It was a very intense process. And the third, then the steel was scrapped into small pieces and then crushed into the powder. Then it went into a boiler, furnace, and it was at 2000 degree Celsius to make it like a water. You see that what exactly you are doing? You are extracting the steel. Was the steel not present in the beginning? Yes. Was the steel not present in the end? Yes. That is what the real self is. That is how you have to perceive it. How are you, Dennis?
I'm good, thank you, Guruji. That story of the car resonated with me. It was like good to learn how we need to dissect our ego and pick what is right and good and remove what is not useful, to leave only the instrument, to make the ego the instrument to move on the path of knowledge. As far as the practice, it was peaceful. The mind was very compliant. There were no objections throughout the practice from the mind. It tried to offer some experiences in the body, like itching and other, but that didn't work, and the rest of the meditation was calm and smooth.
Very good, very wonderful. You already narrated this analogy through the story, and you said that is also worth appreciating. That how long the journey is, we know it, how many objections we have. So if you see in that analogy, separation, second machine, third machine, and then ultimately you are crushing your ego completely. It has turned out into a liquid, and now you can mold yourself. Beautiful. Where are you, my friend Ashok?
Namaskar, sir. Jai Gurudev.
Jai Gurudev.
Okay. Sir, fine, all cool and peace.
All cool and peace. Yeah. Yeah, in our when we go to the monastery, we greet each disciple greets the other with the Jai Gurudev. Jai means hail, victory. Gurudev means the master. So that is what he was saying. So my friend, today is a special and auspicious day. We say Guru Purnima. Guru Purnima means Purnima, full moon of the Guru. Means on this day we supposed to celebrate. We pay our respect and appreciation to the Guru, but not only one Guru. From whom my master learnt? From his Guru, from his Guru, from his Guru, from his Guru, and ultimately, what comes? Who is the ultimate Guru? That is sitting deep inside your heart. So Jai Gurudev. Thank you.
Jai Gurudev.
Namaste.
Namaste.
Thank you.
Everyone.